Hey CPC, it is awesome to be able to be back connecting with you in this virtual way. It's really amazing how easy it has been to reimagine connection. For a lot of our lives, I think we take for granted how susceptible we were to something like this. We thought that people would just continue to gather, that people would keep coming back, that people would always be ready to respond. But the reality of COVID is that it's revealed how much our world has changed. That we can't expect people to just keep coming back, and so we need to find new ways to connect and new ways to reach out and new ways to grow life in Jesus, which is what I wanted to talk to you about today. I want to tell you the story of Leslie Newbegin, who was a Scottish priest, lived in the first half of the 20th century, and was sent by the church to go and be a missionary in what's today southern India. He went and by most accounts had a really successful ministry, and over decades of ministering among the poorest people in the subcontinent and faithfully preaching, he saw the church grow. It flourished and continues to flourish today. But when he returned to England, he was surprised because the country that had sent him out to go and export Christianity no longer identified as Christian. The pews had emptied, and even though everyone lived within the sound of a steeple's bells, no one came when they rang. Turns out you can't pour from an empty cup. Last week, I shared a little bit with you about this idea of a ministry reboot. That the bones of CPC are strong, but we need to figure out what each of the processes are that are going to enable us to fulfill and carry out the mission that God has for us in this place. The problem is, though, that sounds like it can be an arbitrary exercise. What's our standard for measuring it? How do we know if things are working or not? And it's fair, because in a business, you look to the person at the top of the organizational chart to set those metrics. But a minister is not a CEO. CPC isn't going to grow based on my charisma or my capability to move things in one direction or other, because there's a million things that are going to impact me and my personality. Everything from how much I have going on my plate to the life I have outside of church to the weather are all going to affect me. The reason that I think that the most important hour I spend in my week is actually here in the chapel on Monday mornings is because we all need a still point in our turning universe. We need to know that when everything else is changing around us, that a fulcrum is going to be steady. The promise of Christianity is that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And what Jesus has done is always send people out. Whether it's the 12 or the 72 or the Great Commission, Jesus sends. And so for us here at CPC, the sending is actually clear, concise, and rather elegant. Life in Jesus. In business language, this is our mission statement. But for it to be the central process we need it to be, we have to start learning to filter every decision we make through this process. And so as the reboot moves forward here at CPC, we're going to keep coming back to the question of, is this thing leading us to life in Jesus? And I know that's tricky even for me, because I have lots of things in my own ministry life that I like that don't necessarily produce that kind of life. And so the second question we're going to have to start answering ourselves is, how do we reorient our passions toward life in Jesus? Like Leslie Newbegin, we are going to need to learn to become missionaries in our own backyard. Church attendance, even online, has plummeted in the last 2 years, and our world and our country can no longer be expected to do the work of evangelism for us. We need to relearn what it is to reach out with Christian love, charity, kindness, and grace. The first tool that we're going to use for this is the Chippewas program that we talked about some last week, and you can go back and revisit that video if you want. But after we've prayerfully walked our neighborhood, after we've learned to read our community, the next step is going to be to join us for the Art of Better Reaching. This is going to be a workshop that we're offering twice a week on Sundays through November. And if you're interested in something midweek, make sure that you email Chris to let her know so she can book that into the fall calendar. I'm really excited about what CPC is doing here, and more importantly, what God is doing through CPC. I've said before that I would not be here today or any day if I didn't believe that God has an amazing future in store for the people of Chippewa Church. Our job is to rediscover what it is that God has sent us for, who it is that God has sent us to, and to get back to the business of being about being sent, to bring life in Jesus, to be about finding life in Jesus. In a million different ways, life in Jesus is coming and being poured into our neighborhood through our church, and we are excited to be able to see what that looks like. And I'm excited to be able to share this ministry with you. For now, please never hesitate to reach out to me by email, by phone, by text, by social messenger. However it is that you want to connect with me, I'm glad that you are, and I'm glad you're continuing to connect with the church through this ministry. Thank you for being a faithful, prayerful witness to what God is doing in Chippewa. Be blessed. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.